Amazing, I'm back. This time I'm here in Brussels, and what a beautiful city. I mean, I've been to Brussels a few times now, but I mean, it's better every time I come back. And so this time I got to meet my good friend Elian.
Elian, it's pronounced, but it's okay if you mispronounce it. It's a difficult name in English.
It's a difficult name for me to pronounce, but Elian.
Elian, yeah, it's good enough.
It's good enough, that'll do. I'm here with my good friend Elian. I got to meet him last night, and I got to hear his story, and I was like, wow, okay, that's such a cool story. I really enjoy that. I'd love to share that with all of you. And so he thankfully agreed, and here we are to tell you a bit more about Elian. And so I guess we're here now, React Brussels, and you just gave a talk earlier as well. You gave a lightning talk.
Yeah, only 10 minutes.
Yeah. 10-minute talk, and that was on...
Astro.
On Astro.
Yeah.
And so last night I had no idea what Astro was, and you had the pleasure of giving me your talk then, and I was like, wow, okay, this is actually such a cool talk. So what, have you been using Astro for a while then, or?
Well, I started using it in about September 2021, so about a year ago, a little more than a year ago. I noticed it online. I think it started like that, and I immediately fell in love. It seemed so natural and so easy. And it just was an extension of my fingers at one point. So now I'm doing all these talks about Astro, and thankfully they are recognizing me as an ambassador, which is really awesome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they have a really nice community. So really loved working with them and contributing on the project. Astro actually means a lot to me. So I'm happy that I can speak full of passion about it. In a room full of people willing to listen and hopefully use it.
Yeah. That's amazing. And I mean, the presentation you gave us last night was flawless. I mean, it was so well done. So he said, hey, do you mind if I give you a dry run and then you can give us any feedback or anything and tell us how to improve, whatever? Yeah. I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm happy to tell you, my honest opinion. And then he gave the whole talk and I was like, no, I have no feedback for you. It was just good. It was just good done. You're all done. But for me, I mean, I've given my fair share of talks. I've given my fair share of presentations and all that. I know getting to that level of just giving a good talk that sticks. And I think the thing that I really enjoyed about your presentation was you kind of guided me through exactly the way I would think about the problem. You know what I mean? And even that's a difficult thing to do as a presenter, to kind of follow the user's journey or the viewer's journey as you're talking about a difficult technical subject. And so, how did you even begin to kind of get to that type of
That was a difficult part,
storytelling,
especially for this one, because we're at a React conference right here in Brussels. So I've kind of I needed to find the common ground in between React and Astro, and how I can sell them Astro, or how can I sell Astro to a React user. React users, they have their Next.js, they love Next.js, they probably don't want anything different. And I had to convince them to use Astro. So I basically started right there. I just started Astro is a lightning fast framework. Why am I talking about it? And then I started this is a simple React component, let's import it into Astro. And I basically made it indeed an actual story about that. And I think that's also what keeps people interested. And I did that unknowingly at the time. And then I started oh, wow, this is actually becoming a good talk. So I felt quite confident. And I also think that's the reason why it went so flawless.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a really good way of looking at it. I like that. But yes, talking last night. I mean, you didn't just start by no. You weren't just born as a React developer. You had to learn all that. Yeah. You had to kind of discover and all of those things. And so you're telling us about kind of your earlier life decisions and through school in particular. So I'm curious a bit more about that.
Yeah, we were actually talking about that I live in Ghent and why I live there. And then I started wait, do you have a couple of minutes? Because we have to go back 8 years. So basically the story in short is that here in school, middle school, I wasn't happy. I was doing things that I didn't like. You just had to listen to the lecturer talking 8 hours a day. Didn't feel right for me. I was a completely incomprehensible kid at the moment. And then I went looking for a different direction with my parents. And I was kind of attracted to a computer and kind of attracted to visually making things interesting. So they took me to a school in Ghent which is a long way from Brussels because I'm actually from Brussels.
It's not that far. I mean, it's only like a 30-minute drive or something, right?
Yeah, well, it's a 45-minute drive. That's
Yeah,
true.
I mean, I'm from Canada. You know what I mean? Like, you can drive in from Toronto to Toronto in
Yeah,
like
yeah.
45 minutes. You know what
That's
I mean?
true.
You're still driving in the same city.
Yeah.
You know?
That is true. That's very true. But the thing is, I was like 14 at the time, or like 13, and that felt like a very long distance.
Yeah. No, I remember
Yeah.
like at that stage in my life as well. I mean, you kind
Yeah.
of went to school and back. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like, you didn't go much further than that. You didn't really know what was outside of those like kind of bounds that are drawn for you, right?
Yeah.
And so you were 14 at the time.
Yeah.
Going to a whole different city.
Yeah. So they
Wow.
took me to that school just to go and take a walk around and just like explore the school. And I really loved it there. It was such a big and arty school. I immediately felt at home. But we also had to take the decision, if I wanted to go to that school, I had to go to boarding school. Or I should go to boarding school because that would be easier. The other decision that could have been made was that I didn't go to boarding school, but I could have gone with the public transport every day.
But yeah, and that would have just been annoying, wouldn't it? Because
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
every single day, 40,
exactly.
40 minutes one way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's an hour and a half of your day, arguably,
Yeah, just
gone
lost.
just to
Yeah.
transit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And
yeah.
then since things weren't like going badly, but I was like a difficult kid at that time, we decided let's just try this out for a year. And I actually loved it there.
Let's just try out boarding school for a
Yeah.
year. Wow.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, and I really loved it, and I just made such good friends, and I've had the time of my life. We're just like pranking each other all the time. The classes at the school then were a little bit different. They were like creative outlets for me.
So,
and
like, I'm curious. I'm curious about, like, I mean, that's a big decision. I mean, for you, obviously, to say, I'm happier going
Yeah.
to boarding school.
Yeah.
I mean, especially as a 14-year-old kid, a lot of people would not be happier going to boarding school. And, like,
Yeah.
that's a pretty big jump, you know.
Yeah, it's a very big jump.
for yourself, of course, but I mean, also I'm sure for your parents and your
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
to say, you know what, kid, we've had enough of you. Go to boarding school now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Looking back at it
how
now,
was it? Yeah.
looking back at it now, it doesn't feel like I had to. It just felt like I wanted to, but maybe I don't know if that's correct.
Did you go back to visit your parents?
Yeah.
frequently and your family frequently and all
It's
that?
only in the week, and then the weekends I would be at home.
You'd be at home. Okay,
Yeah.
so it wasn't so bad. It
it wasn't
wasn't like
that
you were
bad.
so far away and everything. Okay.
No, and because I wasn't home like all week, I had things to talk about with my parents because I've had a
Right.
week. I came home, we had things to talk about.
You kind of appreciate their time a bit more. Yeah, that's a really cool way of looking at it.
It felt like visiting
Yeah.
them, and
Yeah.
because of that, my relationship with my parents really got to the better hands at that time.
I really like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And they were really supportive. They say, do whatever you want to, and let's just try this out if that's what you want. And they were very supportive. I'm really thankful to them. So thank you, Mom and Dad, if you're watching.
That's awesome. And like, I'm curious if you have any brothers or sisters or
Yeah,
anything. Like, did they also
yeah.
go to boarding school after
No,
you? Or?
well, I have one sister. She's a year older,
Yeah.
and she actually around the same age that I went to Ghent. She went to Brussels at school. We live like a half an hour from Brussels with public transport, which is only like 20 kilometers. So she wanted to go to Brussels to do acting. So we both went in like very creative direction, and my parents fully supported that, which is awesome. And she had like not a boarding school experience, but she also, because she went there, she also really changed for the better. We just needed some alternative schooling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's awesome that we've got that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. And so for me, like I went to boarding school for 1 year, and then I went to university where we all kind of stayed on campus. So it's kind of like a boarding school in a way. But I did like an actual boarding school for 1 year. And you said something just now, which was that you're pranking all your classmates and everything. Like we had so many pranks on all of our classmates. Like I mean, boarding school or otherwise. I also went to a school where we all had laptops, and so we all used to like just prank people's laptops. I remember there was a command. Oh, I'm going to forget what it is now. A command in DOS. If you remember what it is, just put it down in the comments below. below. But basically, you can send a message, a prompt, like on everyone's screen, like on Windows. So so if I knew your IP address, I could be like send message to your IP address, and it would make that message pop up on the screen. But then it would also follow like the Windows user group, so you could do like everyone at the school, like pop this up on the screen. But then it would tell you whose computer it was coming from. And so basically, like myself and a friend of mine, we were in grade 11 comp sci curriculum. So it was myself and my friend. My friend now works at Microsoft. I think he's now moved to Salesforce. But anyway, so he worked on the server for this, and I worked on the client for this. And we built an instant messenger together. And so we put a special script on the client to say essentially if name equals Ryan, like this Ryan was this guy we wanted to prank all the time in school. If name equals Ryan, like install a script on his PC to message everyone at the school from his PC. And so it would say, hello everyone, I'm Ryan from his computer. And it would say from that IP address, which is Ryan's, like to everyone at the school, like, prank. And so we used to do like pranks like that and stuff. Did you do silly pranks like that? Or what sort of pranks did you do?
One of our classics was like reverting the background on the Windows computers and then turning the screen upside down. You had like Windows Control Shift button down or something, and it would like flip the screen upside. And then the teachers were coming in and they would like, what is this doing? But mostly it was me and I got punished for them. But
did you also do like a screenshot of the background with the taskbar and then remove the taskbar?
Yeah, or just like attaching a wireless mouse and then just like controlling their mouse and just like making crazy movements that they're like, what is this? And then they had to get tech support and yeah.
There's a hacker in here.
Yeah. That was an amazing time. Yeah, I really enjoyed myself there. Yeah.
Did you do any other sort of pranks to your classmates and stuff?
Well, one of the obvious one was like smearing toothpaste on like doorknobs or shaving
cream. Toothpaste on a doorknob?
Yeah. So the moment
I don't think we did that.
Yeah. So the moment they grabbed the door, right, their hands full of stuff. Yeah, that was, and you didn't have anything to rub it off, so you would like, can I go to the bathroom? They pranked me. So that was amazing. Well, we actually once made a YouTube video reverting someone's room by 180 degrees. So we all had like,
oh really?
Yeah, at boarding school we all had the same rooms, but they were always reverted. So if in the basic layout you had the door on the right, then the bed on the left, and then the room next to it would have the same thing reversed. And so we actually reversed his whole room, and he came in and he was like, what is this? And then afterwards he came to me and said, I thought my mom was here. I thought she was coming to clean my room. So we were like, what? That's your first reaction? You're a strange dude. Yeah, we had such an amazing time. Really enjoyed myself.
Oh my goodness, that's so good. And like, I'm sure all those computer pranks also just made you better with computers.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because you're just trying to like find new like ways to prank people. You know what I mean? New ways to like mess with people, right?
Of course. That's also what got me into computers. Is just like playing around with them.
Yeah.
Just like having fun.
Yeah. So you had a lot of fun at boarding school.
Yeah.
But you fundamentally went there, I'm assuming, for like alternative learning, as you said. So what do you mean by that? Like what was the difference in the educational style of the schooling style?
One of the basic things that I always keep repeating is I am a person that learns by doing things and not by just hearing them. So I have to do stuff before I can redo them later. Same with like programming or learning new languages. You have to do them, you have to follow tutorials, practice. Practice makes perfect, right? So I went there, and in my first year I did design and media. It was something like that. And we had to like make videos for fun, just like take a camera, let's film something, then we edit in Adobe Premiere, then we could take Photoshop, we just edited some logos, that really was my creative outlet. Turns out I was very bad at it. And then the next year, and a couple following years in that school, I did in photography. So I actually have a degree in photography too.
Oh wow! So you can tell me how to use my camera later.
Yeah, well, you push the button and press it on auto.
That's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
I've been taking videos this whole time.
Oh, that's no.
Trying to take a picture.
So I did that, and because actually I did photography, we got to play around in Adobe Photoshop and edit pictures, but I wanted
prank more friends with your Photoshop skills.
Oh yeah. I really did like face swapping, and I did face swapping before it was cool. Yeah. Yeah. And so actually, I wanted a way to display my photos online or like show them to friends and stuff. And at that time, like Facebook wasn't cool anymore. Twitter, I wasn't really using. So that felt like the best way. So that's when I learned HTML.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
interesting. Interesting.
yeah. Yeah.
So the main difference with this boarding school was a more
Yeah.
hands-on approach of learning.
Yeah.
More. It was less theoretical.
Yeah.
Less sit in the classroom, study a book,
Yeah.
and then like kind of repeat that on
yeah,
the test. It was more like do the thing that
Oh
you're
yeah,
learning.
just come to the class. We give you a paper. You take a pencil. Let's draw something.
Yeah.
And that's what one gets your creative mind going because you have an empty canvas. Now create something.
Right.
And this is the word you have to do something with. Go ahead and do that. And you know, one person uses blue, one person uses yellow, and that's all okay. They just said, okay, that's cool. Why are you choosing that color? Or why are you choosing that? And that's when you also learn not to defend yourself, but to write and tell your personal story behind a thought you had. Because, you know, why have I used blue? Well, it's because the word makes me think of the sky in that context. And you're just starting to learn storytelling. And that's also what I used, for example, in this talk.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It was very creative.
Yeah.
yeah. Again, very well done. I'd recommend checking it out. Well, in fact,
Yeah.
if it's out by the time this video is released, make sure to put a video, like a link in the description below.
Yeah, I hope so, because I want to rewatch it too, actually. Yeah.
Okay, so that's really cool. So you learn
Yeah.
HTML there as well, just by trying to
Yeah.
create a way to share photos with friends.
Yeah.
And so you learn HTML. I'm guessing you learned JavaScript. You learned CSS as well.
Oh, well, yeah, right now I did, but at that time it was just plain HTML and a little bit of CSS, but like really not too much. And JavaScript didn't came in like for maybe been doing that for 2-3 years.
So that was the spark of this whole kind of journey with
Yeah.
computers. And then how did you proceed from there? So this was still high school we're talking about.
Yeah.
That you were doing boarding school.
Yeah.
Then you, I guess, went on to do university or something.
Well,
or?
I ended my high school there doing photography. I got my degree, and then I was thinking, what's my next move? You know, I like HTML, I like programming. Maybe let's just try that out. And there was like a creative college for that. Well, we call it University of Applied Sciences, which is just learn by doing, what I've explained before.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so I went there. I instantly made that choice. I've never doubted it. And that's when I really fell in love with the web.
So, applied sciences. So,
Yeah.
So for me, I know like applied sciences. So applied sciences, it's more like engineering. I think is the definition. They say School of Applied
Well-
Sciences in North America is often engineering.
Yeah.
Because you're applying the science, which is fundamental, which is kind of like engineering. I'm probably getting that wrong, but like at least that's how I remember it, as more engineering related. I think
Yeah.
the university I went to ever so briefly was the School of Applied Sciences was the engineering department.
Yeah.
That was just the term that they used for it. Was it the same over here, or what do
it's
you mean
a
by
little
University
bit-
of Applied Sciences?
It's a little bit more complicated, but that's
Okay.
basically the takeaway. So we have real universities, which are just they're telling you to do stuff, and you have to do it on your own.
Like more
like lecturing,
scientifically.
really
Yeah.
lecturing and PhDs and that stuff. But I wasn't interested in that at all. I wanted to be creative at school with teachers, with my fellow students, and that's what a University of Applied Sciences does with here in Belgium. But actually, it's a college, but it's called University of Applied Sciences, Belgium. We have kind of weird quirks here. Really. But so I went there and yeah, never doubted it a day in my life. Yeah.
That's awesome. And so now that continued to like evolve your computer
Yeah.
skills and like web dev and
yeah.
and other things. Like I'm curious if you learned any actually practically useful web dev there.
Oh,
'Cause, like, there's the common thought that like in these types of schools they teach you things that
Yeah.
are completely irrelevant, and then you learn in the field. Like, was that the case for you, or did you learn practical?
Well, how did I actually start? Oh yeah, we started by learning Java, like really basic stuff. We also had like our first tests were on paper, so you really had to like public, main, void, what am I doing, that stuff. And then we had some basic HTML and CSS class, and I immediately felt attracted to that because at the time JavaScript was easier because you didn't have TypeScript, and you could just like do anything with it. You could run it on the server, you could run it on the client, you could run it everywhere. And for Java, you had to like compile, you had to do this, you had to do that. And for me, I don't know, I've always had like a love for JavaScript. And what did I learn there? Well, I started out just learning plain JavaScript and jQuery, but we didn't really learn it. They told us, this is what you have to create, and you have these tools, and this is a way to do it. But here's a guide. Now try it on your own.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And
so like,
that's a method.
Very, very real world.
Yeah. And that's a method I still use till today, because they just told you, here's your end result. This is what you start with. Everything in between, learn it, create it. And that's what a good programmer or web developer needs.
Yeah,
just like
100%.
adapting and learning.
It's really like it's really learning how to learn.
Yeah.
Which is the main thing, right? If you can learn how to learn, then you can apply that like method of learning to learn whatever you want, really, right? And so I think that's really like the core theme to what you're, to what I'm hearing you say is more of this more practical sense of learning, this more practical sense of discovery, and this more practical sense of exploration, and then kind of discovery of all those things and learning about all those things, and it's kind of continued with you today.
Yeah. Well, yesterday a speaker here asked me, "Oh, so what's your daily job?" And I just replied, "Well, I'm a good Googler." Which is basically true, because you had a problem, you need to solve it. How do you start problem solving? Well, let's Google the error. Let's first of all start there, and let's just learn, adapt, and learn new things if it's necessary, and let's apply them and learn from our own mistakes, which is also very important.
Yeah.
And that's indeed what makes a good developer, because you have to develop yourself. Actually, you have to put your brain to work and like learn new stuff, and have to be eager to learn. That's like what makes a developer a quality developer.
There was something that kind of stuck with me a while back, which someone said, Google is the ultimate answering machine. If you have the right question, it can answer it. Right? But it's about getting that right question and kind of learning how to like ask the question, right? Knowing like how to continue to refine that question, and Google will get you an answer. Well, hopefully it'll get you an answer. And you know, from that you can kind of take it and kind of continue to evolve.
And also another thing is you have to understand when you're not the smartest person in the room, and you need to ask questions. If I don't know, like at my job, I'm alone in what I do. So I do web native development. That doesn't mean that I'm the best native developer there is. That just means that if I don't know the answer, I'll go on a Discord, I'll go on a forum, and I'll ask my question. And I think that's also what differentiates like people who think they have all their skills and think they're the best. Well, there is no good developer that will say that he's the best, because you never are. And that's what you need to strive for. You want to be the best, but you can never be it. So you just learn to become.
Yeah, I mean, it's like essentially I hold maybe a controversial opinion, but which is that best is a relative term.
Oh yeah.
Like you're the best. You're the best at what? You're the best in maybe one thing, but you're probably not the best in another thing.
Yeah, of course.
Best is still a relative term. It sounds like an absolutism.
Yeah, well,
because you're the best, absolutely the best. But in fact, it's still in relation to so many other things, and so.
And that's what I mean. Yeah. If you're not the best at it, let's make you the best. You want to be the best, so let's just ask someone who might be better than you.
Yeah.
That's what I actually was saying. But my English is kind of.
He always says this, you know what I mean? I always talk to these lovely folks from around the world where English isn't their first language, and they always speak the best English and use all these complicated and fancy words. And they tell me their English isn't very good, and I'm just like,
trying my best.
I'm like, you should listen to my French. You should listen to my Dutch. You should listen to my German. I mean, that's like terrible, you know. Thank goodness so many lovely people can speak English. But anyway, it's a bit of a tangent to say no. Stop saying that.
Okay, I'll stop. I'm a perfect English speaker.
Perfect. There we go.
Okay.
The best over here.
Right.
The best. So I'm curious though. So you kind of learned about JavaScript, CSS, and all of that. You refined it during your time in college, and but like I'm curious if that's where you learned how to present. You know what I mean? How did you refine your presentation style? How did you learn how to storytell and kind of give the show that you gave earlier, give that presentation? Because I mean that was lovely.
Yeah, actually that's a very funny story. Well, I was still at college, and one of my teachers, previous teachers, approached me and said, "Hey, I do have a company, and I need someone to do and fix some stuff for us in the web world. Would you be interested?" I said, "Of course, yeah, I am interested." And that person turned out to be Bermus. I don't know if you know him. a big guy here in Belgium. He presents a lot. He does a lot of conferences. He now works as a DevRel at Google.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, he founded the company. The company I still work for, vBridge. But he did so many talks, and I was really interested. And he also pushed me really forward in create your own blog, write your content, stuck it up there. If there's no one interested, why do you care? You know, write that content. You'll understand it for yourself better because you've written it out. Basically, you've done your research. You'll probably know it. And if at a later point in life you'll need to solve the same problem, just go take a look at your blog. It's right there. So I started doing that.
Awesome, yeah.
And then at one point, at my university, at my university/college, they asked me if I wanted to do like some presenting for I think like lower grade students. And I did that, and I quite liked that. And then that got the ball rolling, you know. So I rolled into doing some stuff and like presenting a little bit, and then I did a couple of lectures at my university, which is very awesome. They gave me the chance to do that.
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
I always got very positive feedback, which is awesome to hear, because I wasn't sure about that at the time. Well, I'm still not really right now, but there's a lot of imposter syndrome, but hey, it turned out okay, so that's fine. So I got the opportunity once to talk at Full Stack Ghent, and turned out that Omar, who organizes this, had seen that.
You know what? I'm so sad because Omar, lovely person, Eamon as well, the organizers of React Brussels, so lovely, so kind. To have me, to have people like Elian, to have everyone really here and put on this fantastic show in Brussels. And I was so gutted that he's not feeling well today and wasn't able to make it. So I have never actually met Omar at all.
Me neither.
I've never actually met Eamon. You've never met him.
Yeah, Omar, no.
Omar, he's just this mystical figure that exists and is lovely and puts all these great people together, but it doesn't come because he's not feeling well. Omar, next time we're hanging out, okay?
Yeah.
Next time we're all hanging out. And we're so sad you couldn't make it today. But hopefully next time
really
in the future, we'll get to see you and hang out. So it was Omar again that noticed you, that recognized you. And,
so he sent me a message. Hey, this edition of the conference is full. Can I send you a message next year? I said, of course. And then in between then and now, I've done 2 or 3 talks about Astro. So my Astro knowledge has also become quite somewhat better. And also at that time, we were like on a very early version. So Astro wasn't quite as complicated or quite as large and known. So it was a very tight space. But right now, everyone at least has heard of it, which amazes me still. Because the community feels very small because we're like all friends, everyone knows each other. Dan, who's also here, he works there. So that's so awesome. So Omar messaged me, hey, this in a couple of months, it's React Brussels again. Would you do a lightning talk? And I said, of course. And then I just came up with the slides, and here we are.
That's awesome. But I mean, just being able to like refine that presentation style. I mean, it's only been a few talks. Wow. Okay. So it's really been the culmination of all of that experience over time, the kind of practical, applied, hands-on type of training, creativity, all throughout high school, all throughout college. The same thing, very hands-on. That person that pushed you to write blogs, and his name was?
Bramus. His name, I'll send you over. His website is bram.us. He's working at Google now. Bramus? How do you pronounce it in English? Bramus? Bramus, well, yeah.
Sure, what he said. Yeah. And so him pushing you to go write your blog and finally and get out there in front of people and all that great feedback and everything. But I mean, for me personally, just being able to like essentially have the pleasure of seeing an early preview of your talk last night and kind of enjoying the journey that it took me on as a viewer, especially in such a compressed time scale, which is only 10 minutes. It was amazing. And so I'd highly recommend for you to go check out Elian's work as well and like look out for him. Follow him on Twitter, go look at his other videos. I'm of a very high degree of confidence that he's going to be on the international speaking scene really soon. And so if he's speaking near you, go check him out there as well. And it was a pleasure talking to you. It was really great hearing your story. And I look forward to kind of following you in your journey.
I'm excited too because international seems so far away. so let's make it happen.
It's a bit further than Ghent.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, anyway, it was lovely. Yeah, and we'll see you next time. All right, bye
Okay,
everyone.
bye.
See you.